What's up, everybody? So, yesterday we kicked off a self-compassion campaign within our team, the Office of Individual and Family Affairs at Banner. Um, and yesterday I posted about self-compassion and kind of asking myself, why I'm so hard on myself, yet I can be so kind to others. And I kind of posed the question to everybody, where they stand with self-compassion. I got some really good feedback, so thank you. And be sure, when you're posting about self-compassion, use the hashtag reflect and connect. So today's journal entry is about obviously self-compassion, but it's about the self-talk that goes on in my head. And I didn't realize how negative my own self-talk was, um, until I really sat down and I was focused on um, being very aware and mindful of not only my self compassion, but what goes into my self compassion. And I realized that my self talk is, um, the more positive my self talk is, that has a direct correlation on obviously my level of self compassion. So I was thinking about, you know, instead of thinking about where I'm lacking all the time, because that's the loop that plays in my head, I've realized. Um, I I'm thinking about now, about being what I bring to the table as a husband, a father, a son, an advocate, a friend, and not being so hyper focused on those areas that I'm lacking, in those different capacities. So my self talk is typically flooded all day long with thoughts like, "Well, why haven't I done this yet?" Or um, I'm so far behind on this. I need to do this. You know, so since I put into practice today, being more aware of that, my self talk has been much more positive. And in fact, earlier today, um, I was in the process of getting started on one of the things that I'm working on. In my role as an advocate. It's kind of like an ongoing project, and my brain started to go to, um, man, I need to, I'm not as far as I would like to be. Typical like mindset for me, self talk for me. I need to get this done. Oh man, I'm so far behind. Instead of instead of thinking about, like, wow, look at how far you've come. Like, you stepped into this role. This role was non-existent. You've developed this along with your other three advocates, and you've really knocked this out of the park. You've exceeded expectations. Um, you've helped countless members not only get connected to services, um, but those intangibles that come up in engagements, and like how much you were able to use your lived experience. And those are the things that my self-talk should be centered around, because those are the positive things. That's everything that I bring to the table. um, and so this project that I'm working on, yeah, I'm not as far as I want to be, but who cares? Like, think about, like, and I'm saying to myself, I literally said out loud today, hey, and I stopped myself with a verbal command to pull myself out of that negative self-talk. So being mindful of your self-talk um, can really turn things around. And so, having that in my mind today as the approach I was going to have today made me really focus on, what was being said in my mind. What was I saying to myself in my brain that, typically I don't even think about my self-talk throughout the day. But now that I made it a point, it's alarming how negative my self-talk is. So, that's just an example of a situation today, because I was mindful of what was going on in my brain, and I made it a point to really focus on that. But I can only speak for me. I don't normally think about my self-talk. I'll hear the phrase every now and then, but it doesn't dawn on me to really focus on that. Because I like to think generally I'm a pretty happy person. I have a lot of good going for me, so I don't think my self-talk needs to be addressed. But I'm very wrong. Like, I took a self-compassion quiz last week, and I scored at the very, very low end of the Likert scale. And it really made me aware of, like, how much work I need to do on my self-compassion and what goes into that. And self-talk is like a big component of that. So So I challenge you, you know, think about your self compassion, where you're at with that. Think about what goes into your self compassion. And for me, it's self talk, and that loop that goes on in my head needs to be positive. And so, like right here in my journal, I put, positive self talk leads to an increase self compassion. So that's my focus, and I'm making it a point to really drive that point home because negative self talk is a learned behavior, but positive self talk can also be a learned behavior. So I'm choosing to make that my point this week. Not just because it's this campaign that we're kicking off, but because it's important for my mental health and my overall well being. It's important to the man that I am, to my friends, my family, my coworkers, the members that I serve. So I need to make sure that my tank is full so I can give to others. So hashtag reflect and connect. Let me know what you think. And thanks for listening.